I'm Nicole O'Brien, and I am in the MFA cohort for collaboration in musical theater.
Hi, I'm Dylan Cole, or DC, and I'm a director choreographer in the MFA for musical theater collaboration cohort.
Hi, I'm Ontaria Kim Wilson. I'm in the MFA for directing program.
Hey, I'm Taylor Harlow. I'm also in the MFA for directing. Yes, the idea for Chekhov shorts was basically to have some time spent investigating each of these Chekhov scenes and then find a way to kind of suture them together into an evening of theater, which has kind of been cool to allow each of us to have our own spin on how we want to investigate these, traditionally Chekhov heightened language scenes and find a way to see like what's the connective tissue between all of them.
Because we each knew which scenes we wanted to tackle, we've basically been focusing on those individual pieces, so it makes it easier to come together and kind of suture those scenes together. I think it's been pretty seamless. We have a good working relationship with both the directors and the cast, so I think we're on a pretty good track.
For me, it's that Chekhov is accessible. I think, especially now with our audience and with primarily all of his theater kids, the majority of theater kids here are queer or black and brown bodies, and he wasn't writing at a time when we were at the forefront of anything. So I would just like people to understand that like we do belong in these stories, and there is space for us in this type of material.
I'm directing 2 scenes from The Seagull, and DC is also directing one, and we kind of came up, that was one of the things that kind of inspired me to do those, because I liked the idea of the through line. And so, but yeah, I was just really drawn to the Nina character and like the story of how she is sort of manipulated through, and what the power that that the men in that world have and what they can do with it. That was just a really interesting thing to me. So I wanted to sort of follow her, like before the tragedy of what happens to her and the after. So.
Yeah, I'm directing a scene from The Seagull along with Megan. It's the middle of the 3 scenes. As well as the scene from the cherry orchard. I chose them because I loved the way Chekhov wrote women in these 2 particular shows. They're very strong, independent, fiery women, and they're both standing at a part of their life where a big change is about to happen, and that's lovely for actors to be able to sink their teeth into. So it was something I wanted to show. I've also our seagull scenes, I've made 2 of the characters queer, who are not written that way, so that's been a really interesting exploration into queerness at the time. It's been wonderful.
So I am doing The Proposal, which is a 1 act. I broke it up into 3 parts to kind of plot them in between all of the other beautiful scenes that everyone's doing. My purpose for choosing The Proposal was because I wanted to highlight Chekhov's comedy. I know that that's something that he kind of like prided himself in, was being kind of like heavy-handed with comedy, and The Proposal gives us that. It's zany. It shows 2 lovers or potential lovers who find themselves getting caught up in their own personal interest. It's very heightened with activity, and it's just fun. And I wanted fun, so we got fun.
We do get fun. I chose scenes from Uncle Vanya because I think it's really interesting play about relationships and about people who are complicated and people who want things that are conflicting and how they all kind of get in the way. Yeah, and I think it's just a really good kind of reminder and exploration of like what happens when you're kind of shut in with the same people for an extended period of time, which is something we can all relate to. And the coming out of hopefully at the tail end of this pandemic. But yeah, I'm drawn to like the messy, complicated folks that Chekhov was writing, which kind of cemented him in the canon of Western giant of playwriting, because he started writing folks with subtext and with complicated interests in humanity.
I feel like we all learn from each other. When you're put in an environment where you have to observe how other people move, how they think, how they teach, I feel like they're all gems, and we get gems from each other every time we come together. I know I come from a musical background, but on the dance side, so tapping into folk who are like heavily engaged in musical theater, for me it's an asset, because I love spending time talking about musical theater now. I go home looking at musical theater productions. I do those things. So I think it's really, it's been beneficial for me personally.
Yeah, I think it's been super crucial. Like Megan said, yeah, we all come from a very different point of view. I think that makes the show super special, but also it makes our rehearsal room incredibly special. I've learned something from every one of the directors that I didn't have in my tool belt, and I hope that I've given a tool or two. Or 10. I don't know about 10 tools, but yeah, so it's been a wonderful experience working together, because musical theater and theater, the exact same thing. We have stakes, we're human, we have goals, objectives, and tactics to get what we want. So